I do know that Mags Almond is up first, so if you would like to make your way to the front of the stage, that would be great. And so the way it works is that, and how many people have been to a TeachMeet before? Okay, sorry, wrong order. How many people haven't been to a TeachMeet before? Okay, great. So TeachMeet and Mags go through it, but it's something that in lots of schools they use it now. We use it in schools, even students are doing TeachMeets. And the idea is that there'll be a few things shown here, and what I love about them is that I might go home with one or two that I'll actually use. Half of them I won't be interested in, but I'll always pick up something that I could use the next day in school, and that's why I love them. So just enjoy. We'll do a couple of breakout activities in between. You'll have to talk to each other maybe. And I'll pass you over to Mags now.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. Normally I get to boss everybody around at the TeachMeet. I think I'll have to.
Mags, can you be closer to the mic?
Yeah, of course. Here. Here.
Yeah,
and do I?
Yeah, I'm probably dropping.
Do we have a dingy dongy?
No, it's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember what I put into this, but I've just spent the last 6.5 years searching for the answer to the question of why TeachMeet. So if you bear with me, I'm going to just do PhD in 7. I found a lot of endearing and inspiring things in my quest. So yeah. So the first thing I did was figure out what a TeachMeet was, figure out why it had begun to develop in 2006 and not before that. So 2006 was the year Twitter, YouTube, all of those social media affordances began to give us the freedom to talk to each other. And the people who kicked off TeachMeet had been the nerdy people like John Mayo behind me, who had been using the Internet Relay chat. But when we got to the freedom, the social freedom of Twitter in the open, it really allowed people to say, Friday night, down in the pub, bring your laptop, let's get together, put yourself on a list. And the first piece of research I did, I really enjoyed, but Google keep coming up with these wonderful things and then dumping them. But they had Google Fusion Maps, and because I had a very helpful supervisor who had started me on the road of looking for real data about TeachMeet, we're able to find that in the first half of the year 2016, 10 years after, there was one TeachMeet. There was one every day. Those red dots represent the TeachMeets in Ireland and in the 2 islands in the first 6 months of 2016, including the data card is there for the 10th anniversary TeachMeet in the Jolly Judge pub in Edinburgh, 10 years on after it had begun. So that's a tiny bit of context, and I really, really enjoyed stepping through that and scraping at the beginning. A little bit of quantitative work made me happy. So John, please, may I have the next slide, please? And sorry, for the nerds and the geeks and the researchers, I went on a sense-making quest. Why were people getting out of their couches on a Wednesday evening in the rain and driving 2 hours to meet other teachers? I was trying to make sense of that. And I wanted to know what was good about TeachMeet. So I was going to stick on the appreciative inquiry end of things. And then I had to analyse the data I was going to gather, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. I did questionnaires, I did observations, I did interview transcripts, because I wanted to know why was TeachMeet good from the TeachMeet people, from the participants. So lots of work and lots of data. I really got into it, really enjoyed that part of it. I want to get on to good stuff, John. Thank you. So when you ask people to write down 3 words about TeachMeet, the biggest 3 words are collaborative, informative, and fun. So no pressure to the rest of the speakers. That's what you have. That's what you have to deliver. I'll be informative. You'll have to be collaborative and fun. And I just pulled 2 of the just 2 of the visual things that come out of the analysis. And on the right-hand side, this is great fun. It's very hard to do. But when I started to look at TeachMeet first, all over social media, people were chatting about it. And they were calling it 3 things. They were saying, this is my PLN. That was him. He started that. Other people were saying, this is my community of practice. And then other people were saying, this is the best CPD I've ever been to. Those 2 those two words, that word and acronym, best CPD, would have been the most common thing I saw a teacher reacting to a TeachMeet with. So I was kind of curious, was it community of practice? Was it personal learning network? Or was it CPD? You can call it all the other acronyms at the moment. And so we asked people to pin the tail on the donkey. If you use Qualtrics, they've got this lovely heat map you can build in. And as you can see, most people put it in the intersections between the three of them. That's as far as I've brought that, is for the next PhD person to take that and do something with it. I don't know where you would feel it goes if I gave you a pin to tail to pin on the donkey here. Thanks, John. So sorry for the absolute blinding what would you call it, text-based thing here. But these are my findings. So I found out what the TeachMeet events were meaning to people, what was driving them. And in red, I'm just going to go to the words in red, what gives life to them. No pressure, John and Sarah Jane, but the MC, this is an activity where the MC is probably the most important person in the room. I'm sorry, Sarah Jane, but it's come out from the participants. That's what they love, the catalytic effect of, as Ewan McIntosh himself puts it, it's like a music session compared to a classical music conference. Someone who can join the dots and keep us all flowing through the afternoon. So there you go. And this is from yourself, darling. The nano presentation. The fact that we're only going to speak, sorry, I'm breaking it already, speaking it for more than 2 minutes, but the nano presentation, the fact that we're standing up to tell each other things for 2 to 3 to 5 to 10 minutes, enough for the person, and it was Sarah Jane who gave me this word, a spraggle. Just a little fire lit, I can go home and find the rest of it myself, just flywheel me or kick me into something new. And then what I loved learning was that it's not new. TeachMeet's not new. It goes back to campfires under trees in Africa, but it's from open space technology from Harrison Owen. So we're not new at all. It's just a new way of walking through each other's worlds together. I found out about ye. I know where ye all live. I know what ye all do. The participants in TeachMeet, this is a small group of people. It's not everybody in education who goes to a TeachMeet, but there's 3 sort of dispositions in the people. When I asked people, why did you go in the first place? Well, curiosity was the first answer. We're all nosy. But the second thing which really moved me was I was looking to be a better teacher. I was seeking help with my 3rd year maths, whatever it might be. Really, really humbling answers. That was one of the times I stopped and dropped everything and said, wow, these are very honest people. They just want to be a better teacher. And that was coming from the oldsters as well as the newbies. It was coming from everybody. And then the people I was really interested in, and there's a lot of them in the room, why would you organise a TeachMeet for your colleagues? It's not easy work. It's not easy work, sure it's not. The person who's most exhausted at the end of the night are the 2 who've done the preparation.
Mrs. O'Kelly sitting down there very quietly.
Yeah, I know there's a gang of people. So I call those the people who really believed in it so strongly. There was a do the right thing and a do the thing right, 2 sides of a coin. They believed in it so strongly and said, I want to bring this to my friends. So I found out about the participants. But this was the biggest part of the work. Am I okay to stand back? I want to see it close to myself. When I interviewed 15 different organisers, the 4 big themes that came out of it was that it's about people, it's about purpose, it's very, very practical. It's about your practice, and it's about politics. That one kind of, I said, ooh, this is interesting. And it was really about interpersonal. Trace just said to me a while ago, you want to have the coffee with someone, you want to have the chat in the corridor. But it went further than that. People came into it because maybe a mentor had tapped them on the shoulder and sent them, or a principal or a friend had brought them. So it's a very, very personal, interpersonal thing. The purpose was very strong. Some people felt a moral responsibility that if they could, they should bring this model to their friends. The other one, the other side of that coin, some people wanted TeachMeet because they weren't getting nourished by other forms of professional learning. That was one of the words somebody used. I wasn't being nourished. I was sitting for 5 hours listening to yada, yada, yada. So that was the purposeful one. But for all of that philosophical thinking, it's really, really practical. This was huge. People just wanted to go find out an idea. What's someone doing in their classroom? Give me a look into their black box. And something for Monday was a lovely theme that came out of it. Something I can write down, bring back to my students on Monday. And then the political thing had 3 parts to it. There was a yes, there was a no, and there was a maybe. Yes, we want to stay independent, non-hierarchical. This is the least organised thing I know about in the world. There's no bank account. There's nothing. There's no incorporation. It literally has nothing except a name and a logo. I keep putting the logo up there because that very specific TeachMeet is actually what it means. It did start out with techie, nerdy people, but very quickly became about teaching. That's really all it has. And people want to keep it that way. Really, really strongly want to keep it that way. The no is the opposite side of that coin. No commercialisation, please. No appropriation, please. Leave it as loose and as weird as it is. It's a risk and a benefit to be completely open. So you're leaving yourself open to appropriation, but people don't want that to happen. Very, very, very strong feelings about that. And then the maybe is where we're going. So maybe it could be part of professional learning, but tread very carefully. And maybe online is the way to go. Is that a TeachMeet or is it not? There's a lot of maybes in the air. So that was the findings, and John, can you move it on? When I took the findings and started to think about them, go back to the literature, work through, this is what I came out as our conclusion to what a TeachMeet is. And we had I was questioned a lot about what do you mean it's humble? What I mean by what do you mean it's humble? What I mean by humble is what I just said. It makes no claims, it stakes no claims. It's just there, like Everest. Now Everest is not humble, but it doesn't have any pretensions to anything other than, can we all meet, can we teach each other something, and then can we just then go home, can we go to the pub, or can we go have a meal or talk together. It's very, very open. Again, that's that double-edged sword. It's a very open, really pure TeachMeet is very open. It's social. There's no doubt about it. If there isn't a social atmosphere, I heard Sarah Jane say we have breakouts, and some people might go for a tea afterwards. But the one in red this is the kind of the metaphor I use for it. Those 3 things are about the nature of TeachMeet. But when you try to say, what is it in essence? It's a desire line. It's one of those rabbit paths or elephant paths where there's an official way to go and do stuff, but there's an expedient way to get to where you want to go. I want to talk to other teachers. I want to find out what they're doing. I want to share. I want to give my ideas to them and get their ideas. And that's why I use the desire. Now you could be very posh and you could call the desire line an acted agency, but for me it's a desire line. And then where is it going? Where is it going? It's still informal, and yet there are people taking it into formal places. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, it just has to be done very carefully. It's intersectional, as we said, between, it's a personal learning network, it's a community practice, it's professional learning, and it's still evolving. I'm watching it, you know, it's becoming a school activity, it's becoming within a conference as opposed to outside a conference. It's evolving hugely, but because of those 4 Ps, I would say it's a very potent thing. There's a lot of power in it, and I think that's what surprised me most about dealing with the participants. I think it was the strength of the commitment and the emotion that people had within it. And I think I put one more thing. Oh yeah, I did 6.5 years study on TeachMeet, and I still don't have a definition. It's really weird. Every time someone says, and every time I open a new PowerPoint, you have to start with a start, so I'll be saying what it is. So I asked everybody, and 302 definitions came back on the questionnaire. So I kind of parsed them and found that, and I had some help with the mathematics of it. But if you go to that place here, if you go to that or to that, and you click on the above to randomise, can you click on it, John? I think, will it work? No, go back for a second. If we go to that.
You didn't ask ChatGPT, did you?
Oh, Jenny, don't be asking me things. Thank God I finished before ChatGPT started. And thank goodness I finished before Twitter started to fall apart. If you go,
You just need the top left. You don't need that. Just top left.
where's the button?
One over to the left.
Yeah, there we go. Click above to randomise. Why is it not
Click
randomised?
it.
Anyway, you can try it at home. There are
Click the
6.
checkbox.
He's clicking away like a mad thing. Nothing's happening.
Did you work in IT?
I was thrilled. I was thrilled to find that there are 685 ways to say what a TeachMeet is, but they all come down to we're doing it together, we're getting together, we're all educators, we all want to share ideas, resources, whatever it might be. And I, for one, am really happy to live without a definition of TeachMeet, because I think the whole point of it is that there isn't a definition for it. And shin shin. It's great to have.
Next up is the lovely Helen O'Kelly. Yeah. So you'll get to hear her voice there. And she's not presentation, she's slug in. She is slug in. So while we're doing that, we have a little activity for you all, okay? And it's an oldie but a goodie. I like the student class all the time. You know when you go into class and the students are a little bit twitchy when you walk in, do you ever get that? And they're like, you know, Friday afternoon or something. So you can get in groups, talk to each other, and there are 13 parts of the human body with 3 letters, okay? So you're going to make a list of all 13. And they have to be clean. They have to be clean. You have to be able to, as you say, you have to be able to stand up in front of me and the principal and your granny and say these words. So you can work away on that. Right. More than 8? Huh? More than 9? More than 10? No. Okay, we give you 3 more minutes.
2 months?
Like for years, while, so.
Okay, all right. So Sarah Jane, I'm on, am I?
You're on, yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
okay, great.
Yeah, and I keep time.
Okay, so I don't know if you're still thinking of body parts or
We'll come
whatever.
back to body parts after this.
Pause. Okay, so thank you very much, Sarah Jane and John. Okay, so my name is Helen O'Kelly. I am a lead cert computer science teacher in Stratford College in Dublin. I'm IT coordinator, and I'm now actually helping with the assistive technology with SEN in our school. So one of the issues that our Senkos had, I think, over the years, and I know we were at the CPD there about 2 or 3 weeks ago, is getting a referral form from teachers about students. So my Senko had a form on the desk and no one was filling it in. Anyway, there was various sagas. So we are doing further CPD in about 2 weeks' time. So I'm trying to think of an idea. So basically what we've done, we have a referral form, and I've created a form. We're a Microsoft school, so I don't know what the equivalent is in Google. But basically I've created a Microsoft form, and obviously that will send it back into an Excel spreadsheet. But what I wanted to do was, that's fine, and we use Schoolwise, so that's an Irish learning management system. So my plan is to put a link to that form on Schoolwise, because we all connect into Schoolwise there. But also, when you do Microsoft Forms, you can download a QR code. So my other plan is, I'm going to print out that QR code, because everyone has a phone in the staff room, so I'm going to have that QR code around the staff room. But what is really interesting is that when they click the submit button on that form, last Saturday afternoon, with nothing better to do, I was looking, and I think it's a good idea. As I say, we're Office 365. I went up here into the apps up here, and I discovered, you've got PowerPoint, Word, all of those things, but you've got to search, you've got to keep searching. You've got this Power Automate, and I went, because when I was searching, basically what I'm trying to do is when a teacher clicks that link, we want to get an email automatically sent to us in the SEN team. So I discovered this flow, okay? Now if I go back here to this flow, you can create a flow, okay? And there was one, they have all these templates. So search the templates, okay? And basically what it is when you click a Microsoft form, it will automatically send an email to whoever you want to. So this was my flow. I found it in the templates. I think this is kind of frozen, but anyway, we keep going. And then you can go in here, okay? And this is, I did nothing in this part, okay? There's literally a template. This is what I found, okay? And it took me about an hour and a half to kind of be messing around with it. So you see this, when a new response is submitted, okay? So they've clicked the submit button on the form. Now just remind me what we do here. You can see I'm very new at doing this. You can go in here. Okay, hang on. What's that here? So you can see this is live, okay, Mags? I'm sure you can write a PhD all about this, okay? Oh yeah, I gave. It can pick up all of the forms that you ever have created, okay? All the quizzes that you've ever done. So that was cool. So I chose the title of the form that I'd made, and this is the exciting part, okay? Go in here. I can go in here. And I can choose, okay, I can choose who I want to send that email to, okay? So at the moment it's just me, all right? Then you've got all this sort of dynamic text here, okay? You can add what you want to put into your title, your subject title of your email, and this is where I will spend a really productive way, sorry, you can see where, but you can go down here and you can format the way that you want the data to be extracted from the form and put into the email. So the name of the student, the tutor, the year head. Sorry, I don't know how to get rid of that. Okay, sorry. But oh yeah, here we go. Nice one, okay. And I spent, as I say, about an hour and a half whiling my way around. So you can say the area of the concern incident. So that's on the form, okay. All those things are on the form, and then that is the format there, and then you click that. So when you can also create a file. Now that actually was what my original intention was, but it just seems that's like a log file. But the more exciting part was that an email was sent, and then that just basically extracts everything from the form and sends it in email format, and what we plan to do then is we'll automatically be notified. We're going to copy whatever's in the email, and I can drop it into Schoolwise on the note for that student. And I hope, I haven't tried it, but I hope it will be a simple way for teachers to send a referral form to us in the sense. So I don't know whether it's going to work or not. I'm trying to think of something quick and easy that people can do. That's it.
Brilliant, yeah. That's excellent. That's really good. And actually, kind of connected. Next up, we have Declan, and actually in their session earlier on today, from talking about collaborating between schools and using different kind of systems. What they mentioned was in terms of school surveys. There's loads of school surveys, and they said at their school they have a day or a morning, like a drop everything and read, but for teachers a drop everything and fill in all those surveys that you're meant to fill in. So I thought that was quite cool as well. But that's amazing. I love the idea of that.
Oh, it worked. Okay, great. Hi everyone, how are you? I'm going to put this on 5 minutes, is that okay?
5 minutes, perfect.
Lovely. I said 7, but we'll go with 5. Okay. So Terence is here with us. My name is Declan Coulter. I'm the School Sports Coordinator with Laois Offaly ETB. I'm seconded from Portlaoise College. Terence is here with us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I work with Declan. I'm seconded 2 days a week. I'm a digital learning coordinator at a school called Banner College. The other 2 days I'm the digital technology support coordinator for 9 schools in the Laois Offaly Education Training Board, working with Declan.
Okay, so we're just going to talk to you about a program that we have running called PEDAL. It's a program to enhance digital literacy, and the target group for that program is called our parents of students. Now, we've aimed the program at parents of students who would deem to be at risk of educational disadvantage. So in Laois Offaly ETB we have 9 schools, 4 of which have DEIS status. So we've tried and pilot this program with DEIS schools, and we've been working with the homeschool community liaison officers who they have a target group of students who they work with. So this program is designed for the parents of those students, okay? Deirdre was meant to be delivering this presentation. She's not here, so if I am not going in tune with the slides, just kind of bear with us, right? So, and also Deirdre has made a pre-recording which has been part of the pre-recorded videos on the CESI link page. So if you want to follow up on that, please do so. Okay. No bother, we'll go this way. Okay, so look, I won't be a slave to the slides, I'll just talk. So where this came from was when we were at the time I was in homeschool community liaison in the school in Portlaoise College and during lockdown. And we could see then we used the Google for Education platform, and we could see who was engaging and who wasn't. And yearheads were coming to us and saying, Johnny isn't engaging, Pavel isn't engaging, and so on. And then part of my job was to go out to those families and say, how are you getting on? What can we do to help you? Do you need technology? What have you got? What can we do to support you, to support your son or daughter? And then a lot of the parents say, well, and maybe you've all experienced this, maybe some of you with your own children, they said, oh, well, they're upstairs, they tell me they're doing all the work, and then they come down, but I haven't a clue how to use Google Slides, Google everything, all the different apps that they use. So I got in touch then, in essence, with Trinity Access, because some of our schools are involved with the Trinity Access program, and we came together and we devised a program, a 5-week program for parents, specifically for those parents that they can be familiar with the apps that their kids use in school. Okay? So it's the target group, as I said, is the parents of those students who are most at risk of disadvantage who are on the target list. That was the original vision. But then we saw that other schools might want to get involved. So we have other schools who don't have DEIS status, but there's certain student cohort in their student population who they'd like to target those parents off. Okay? So what do we do? So that's kind of where it is. I'll just grab this here, Keith, because look, it might be easier if I go this way. Sorry, no, I don't want to take your job.
No.
You know. So we have developed a heap of resources, and effectively what happens is, it's a 5-week program. It's very simple. Week 1, the parents come in. And they come in and we give them an introduction to the different apps that they use, and we also introduce them to, if your school is Schoolwise, they'll be introduced to that. If it's VSware, we introduce them to that. Then we go, okay, this is what it's like to be a student in our school. You are part of a team on a Microsoft Teams, or you're part of a classroom. We set them up with test accounts, we put them on a team, and then we go through what it's exactly like for them to be a student. We give them assignments, they do the assignments, very basic stuff. Google Slides, Google Presentations, or Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Sheets, they do a presentation, they submit it, they get the feedback, much like their students do. And then in Microsoft Schools, we set them up in a team, we show them the chat, we give them the assignments again on Word, PowerPoint. Okay, so very simple. And then kind of what's unique, and this came from Trinity, is that we don't teach it. We get a parent from the school, and it's the parent who delivers it. So we train a parent, and all we do is we're just there to kind of set it up. Now, the parent doesn't need to be a tech guru, it needs to be a tech nothing. They just need to be someone who's sociable, really, okay? And it's designed between 6 and 10 parents that come, 5 weeks. And then the great thing is, so what we have then, and we're going to develop these resources again, but we have this like facilitator handbook which we've done. The Padlet has absolutely everything on it. And really what they do is the facilitator just kind of follows that. Okay? So everything is there for them, and like they download it and everything, we've checklists, the whole lot is there. Okay? So that's the kind of Padlet. I'll just kind of come back again. So we see we've all the different stuff that's there for both Google resources and for Microsoft resources, okay? So we're going to be editing them, we're probably going to make them into interactive Canvas sheets or something like that. Is that me?
Yeah.
Right, I'll get over that. Okay. Sorry.
That's your timer.
We get to 7. Okay. So then just to say then what Trinity are fantastic. Trinity College support us. So then what we do is, there we go, back. We have once they've completed the 5 weeks, what we do is we invite the parents. Trinity host a graduation. So there it is. There's the one we had there in January. So we ran it before Christmas, and so our schools in Laois Offaly TB, we have 4 schools who run it. There are now going to be 10 schools that are associated with the Trinity Access Programme. We brought them all up. We had 50 parents in January in Trinity in the Long Room Hub. We brought them up. Brendan Tagney, you might know him. He comes along. He gave a bit of a speech there, and it was a lovely thing for the parents. You can see Brendan there in the background there somewhere. He gave a bit of a speech to the parents saying, "Oh, come up." And look, it was more the experiential thing for the parents. Terence, sorry, I'm only leaving with you in a minute or two. Is that okay?
No, I don't even need that. No, it's just literally, I suppose people like to sometimes hear from the school on the ground who did it, because these programs are designed, but sometimes the implementation on the ground. I heard about it, thought it sounded, yeah, good, we'll give it a go, and I really couldn't have imagined what a big success it was. We found a parent who was interested in being a facilitator. She ended up getting so much out of it. A colleague of mine, a teacher, we thought at first, should we teach 20 or 30 or 40 or have them all in a room like this? But actually the small group was a massive success, because some of them had not had positive experiences of schools and education environments before. So, getting them in the first place was a challenge. Once they were in, we set them up the team, the biscuit, with a lovely parent. The resources are brilliant. Everything is provided for you, and it was a huge success. Not only did they feel, and I suppose our investigations afterwards showed that as well, that so much more involved in their child's education and their child's learning. But socially, they found it a really, really positive experience as well. We brought an adult learning officer in at the end as well. So some of them looked at the idea of going on to further education as well on the back of this probably first positive experience they had in education in a long time. The graduation was brilliant. We sent a bus up with students at graduation. They just loved it up at Trinity, in the big hall at Trinity. So it was one of those things, stuff come your way and you kind of go, well, give it a go. Actually, look, we'll give it a try. We're going to our 3rd round of it now because it's a big success. And the surprising thing for us was that these parents went out into the community then afterwards and were advocates for us. They were the ones who went out there and said, geez, that's a great school. God, we're doing great things in there. God, we had a lovely time in there. And really built up their confidence. And all of us that were involved in it really got a lot out of it. And we don't have a school liaison officer. So one of the things that came out of it was, there'd be a lot of chats there every week. A lot of input, you got to kind of see the backgrounds that a lot of our students are coming from, the challenges that they face from the parents' side as well. So it really was a win-win all around.
And just say then, so the key thing is, so we're running another phase of it here now. We're going to have 15 schools. So the schools, like we manage our own schools in Laois Offaly and then Trinity Access. So any schools interested, we're coordinating it in sort of phases, if you like. So Trinity Access reach out to their schools. But look, it'd be interesting. Pedal IRL is you can follow us there on Twitter if you like. Different things that are going on. And then it only works because of people like Terence in the school. So we can have this grand idea, but we can't get into school and do it. And then there's the likes of people in Terence in the school who are so proactive and get involved in different initiatives, like anything. Initiatives only work with people, and you know, the likes of Terence there, it's just fantastic to be working with people like that. Thank you very much. Sorry for going over.
No. Thank you. So next up we have Pam, who's going to talk about Code Week. And just while she's getting set up there, how many people got over 10 words?
We got 10.
You got 10. Anyone get more than 10? Do you want to read them out? Do you want to shout them out while Pam is getting set up? What have we got? Yeah, go.
Okay, here, I,
I'd give it 6, but I'll give it 10.
yeah, well, I can. Lick, hit, tish, jaw, gum, gush, abs.
So that's 14.
Vegan.
That's 13.
Yeah.
And we can take out the ones we can't say. You can take out the slang. So did everyone get all of those? Anyone get any different ones? No? Okay. Very good. Well done. Well done. Now, and I'll give you a prize for that at the end, right? You get a prize for that.
Okay, good afternoon everyone, and thank you for having me here. So just some ideas for EU Code Week. My name is Pam O'Brien. I'm a lecturer in TUS, which a lot of you will know, but I'm also EU Code Week ambassador with Julie Power for the last couple of years. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about EU Code Week. It's a grassroots movement run by volunteers. It celebrates creativity, problem solving, collaboration. If you want to move on, John. So this year the dates are, so it's EU Code Week, but it's really 2 weeks. But anyway, it kicks off 7th of October, finishes on the 22nd. If we look at EU Code Week, last year we had the most amazing year. So if we look at 2021, we had 148 activities. There's a lot more going on, so we really put a push on, and the PDST were fantastic in getting people to pin activities. So we got 738 activities, which is 5 times what we had in 2021. We placed 12th overall. In the previous couple of years, we were kind of around 26, 27, so really good success. 459 activities from primary, 242 from secondary, and the rest from lots of others. So if you want to move on there for a sec. Our 2023 goal is 2,000 activities. Julie said 1,000 for 2022. We thought never happened. We got very close to it. So every time we get near there, she pushes it. So that's our target for this year. So what I want to do is I just want to talk to you a little bit about, so the Community in Ireland Edu Coordinator, Anthony Kilcoyne of PDST, myself and Julie are the ambassadors, and there's a number of leading teachers, and a huge amount of work went into the leading teachers this year at primary level, or sorry, last year at primary level. I think the focus this year is going to be on bringing on more at post-primary level. I'll move on then, John. So sometimes, you know, when we're talking about EU Code Week, we talk about what is an activity, and a lot of people go with the coding. It has to be the hard coding and all that stuff. But an activity can be anything: a lesson, a talk, a workshop, an open day, an online event. If you just want to move on again. Or anything else you can think of, yeah. But I'm going to talk to you specifically today about unplugged activities. So again, John, if you want to. So, just on the coding side, and there's so much I could put up here, I just put up a few different things. So on the coding side, you can think of Scratch and Swift Playground, and Pi, and what they call Arcade, and App Inventor, Microbit, and Hour of Code. All of them, all perfectly valid. But I work a lot with primary schools. And when you go in to do a workshop on any of these things with primary schools, you have all the different devices. You have the internet that doesn't work on the day you go in, or doesn't work at all, ever. So I think sometimes we kind of struggle a little bit to try and get those activities in some schools, particularly in the rural schools. So what do we do? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So, obviously the school with CS First, fantastic activities on there. One of the ones that works really well though, and we've done this with our teachers that we work with in computer science, and I see some of them here today, but we work sometimes with the algorithm to make toast. So get your students to think about, what's the algorithm? If I was asking you to make toast, how would you do it? So you have to actually figure out, what are the steps? What am I doing? And then what's the order of those steps? And that's algorithm thinking. So I think sometimes we go too much to the coding and we forget about the other things. So I'm going to leave this down for a second because I'm going to talk you through some of these other things. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. Is that okay? Yeah? Anyone who knows me knows that I do origami. I love it. But for a very long time, the origami was a passion project for me. It was a wellness thing for me. It allowed me to calm everything down. And then I was looking at it and I was thinking, yeah, there's more to this than any of that. So it's very much about, so this here is just a fidget toy. But actually it's made from these units. So you take a piece of paper, like this, and you fold it about, I think it's about 6 or 7 times, and you get to this. And then you put the two of them together, and you fold them into each other. So it goes like that. All fingers and thumbs here, but anyway, it will work. And when you pull them, now it's connected. And then you just go another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. But the point of it is, if you talk to your students, and I know I have the nice origami paper, if you have A4 paper, you can do this. Because you can square off an A4 page and you can get them to work like that. The key thing is, can you work with your students to give them the set of instructions that will turn this sheet of paper into a unit that can go into this? And it's actually very straightforward to do. So I suppose what I'm saying today is, it's not about all the coding and the devices and the internet and all of that. EU coding and in fact computational thinking and computer science, strip it right back. Start with that and get them thinking. So that's the origami. You can get to these and lots of different things. The other one that I really like doing is a Lego. Now I have 3 small pieces of Lego here. So if we look,
2 minutes, Pam.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
No pressure.
The key thing is, can you, if I give you 3 pieces and I can give you instructions to say, we have a flat piece, a long piece, and a small piece. And I say, put the long piece on the flat piece, put the small piece on top. If you give that to 20 different people, they'll come up with something different. So I was very, very, very vague. And I would always start with that. And then say, did everyone get this? And then they all say, oh, I did it wrong. And then you talk about, well, you didn't do it wrong. My instructions were what was wrong. So they weren't specific enough. And then you talk about make it more specific and make it more practical, more, you know, you get to the point where then everyone gets the same one. So that's that one. And then the other one is the classic algorithmic thinking problems like the Charles panel. And again, I have this lovely wooden one, and there's other ones with whatever. And you say, well, I don't have the wooden ones, so what do I do? Have you got counters that are different sizes? Have you got coins? So long as you have coins that are of different sizes, then you've got a Charles panel. The important thing here is the steps. What are the steps that they are doing to get to the point that they're getting to? Sinead. Thank you. On time,
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect on time.
Maximum.
Okay, is Jagadishwaran in the room? Yes, perfect. I pronounced that totally wrong, didn't I?
Thank you.
Yep. So you can introduce yourself properly there now.
Move it central on the slide now, yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jagadishwaran Tangraj. I'm a teacher and a part-time PhD student in School of Computing at DCU. I'm a bit nervous to present in front of expertise, so please don't mind. So I'm going to introduce about the formative assessment to encourage novice students on learning introductory programming. So the aim of my project is to develop a formative assessment process to encourage novices to understand the basic concepts of programming languages. Because it is very challenging to teach and engage novice students, especially from non-CS backgrounds. So, because for novice students, the basic steps are very complicated to understand. There are some pedagogical approaches introduced to motivate their confidence. To make their interest, to increase their interest level, so and also to drop out to avoid the dropout rates. Some of the examples are the pair programming, pure instruction line coding, collaborative learning, and here the assessment feedback system plays a vital role in the pedagogical approach. So the objective of my project is to extend the formative assessment process to increase the self-confidence in our students, and also to introduce to make them understand about the basic errors, frequent errors, and enable them to correct the errors, and help them to understand the smaller components of programming components. So part of that, we have developed formative assessment quizzes for introductory programming modules. Formative assessment is not like a traditional assessment. It's formative assessment is assessment for learning, as it provides the feedback to each and every answer, and also it helps to enable them to understand accurate errors and correct the errors, and it helps them to find where the errors exactly and what kind of errors as well. Normally, actually, we offer the formative assessment as a self-test quizzes to students. Because self-test quizzes help them to recollect the learning, and based on the errors, it motivates them to learn. So it's like, so we used the methodology learning from the errors.
Next slide.
Yeah. So as part of my project, as I said earlier, we have developed the formative assessment using Google Forms. Okay? Because it is easy to implement and easy to share with students, so, and also it promotes the active learning by using optional quizzes. So, and we conducted the quizzes with different group of students in third level and also with some second level students as well, and we got a positive feedback from them with the different cohorts. So mostly we got positive responses, and we also received some negative feedback as well. So it helped us to understand to correct our quizzes. And also we have offered this formative assessment as a Kahoot quizzes, and we experimented the quizzes in last year's ICT summer camp, which happened in DCO last year, and we got some interesting feedback. So these are the three group of students. Last year we conducted 3 weeks ICT summer camp. The first week was for female students, and we supplied. So we offered the coding with different format of teaching methods, using structured teaching with presentations and live coding exercises, and replete, and also some extra scaffolded programming exercise with set of tutors. And at the end of the day, we conducted Kahoot quizzes as a self-test quizzes, so because so school students are interested to attend the quizzes as a game-based learning. So we offered the formative assessment using Kahoot quizzes. So at the end of each question, we gave the feedback for the right and wrong answer. So they can learn from the wrong answers. They can understand what's the mistake in the wrong choice and why it's correct, the correct answer. So the first week, full of female students attended the first week, and we got a positive feedback for the Kahoot quizzes. They expressed that the Kahoot quizzes help them to learn than the male students. And so we are planning to implement adaptive approach in the formative assessment to experiment next level of our research. And also we have offered the self-test quizzes to the leaving set, students last year, and we received some positive feedback, and we are happy to share those quizzes to other schools as well. So, if anyone interested, you can contact me or Monica in DCU.
Or actually there'll be loads interested in quizzes to help with computer science, my God. So we can contact you or Monica or to DCU to get access to those. Brilliant. Happy days, we'll do that. And we'll put those details up on the Twitter account and maybe on the website as well. We'll do that. Any questions or anything? Okay, so next we have, do we have John next?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. The dreaded chat GPT, or the welcome chat GPT, depending on what you think. So John is going to demonstrate something here.
Yeah, so I was joking with somebody yesterday that I keep misspelling chat GTP or G. So this one is a little bit different, it's chat PDF. And I really like this in that what it does is it'll take a PDF and it will allow you, hopefully this will go according to plan. So basically what it does, it uses an AI engine to interrogate a PDF document that you uploaded. So if you have a large document, what it will do is allow you to ask questions of it. So basically what I've been using these PDF, using this with, has been for the large document I'm reading, I says give me the summary, it'll give me the summary, give me the points, and it says give me what page numbers it refers to. So basically it'll throw all that back to me. So basically it's almost like a little search engine with an AI platform with a PDF. So basically it's kind of taking a very small amount of data, upload there, which is fine because it's but basically what it'll do is, you've all seen the chat GPT, is that chat? Yeah, okay, sorry, the brain's right at this stage. So basically what it'll do is that if you have a large report or whatever, and there's a number of questions you want to ask of it. So basically you could put in the questions as, what's the most important thing here? Where is this relevant to certain such age groups? It'll give you back the answer. So it's almost like doing a search in the document, and it'll throw back the page numbers as well. So if you actually want to read up a bit more, very handy for students, very handy for anybody who's doing research, and that's me done. Okay? Next up is Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer, Kelly.
Yep. Perfect. And while Jennifer is just getting set up, you'll notice that Taina left these on everyone's desks, right? And I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're absolutely amazing. They're out of Maynooth. They're kind of based on the Beveris challenges, right? They're for primary schools, and she has a load of them there. So anyone who doesn't take them, I bring them for my classes. But just even for pig iron, have a look yourself and see, can you work them out? They're like, there's 10 different levels here of challenge in each book. They're really fab, right? And there's also access then through a website to other challenges for different levels and different students. And I have actually used these with my 5th year computer science class when I see them first, right? So I've given them a book each just to get an idea of where they're at. So it's really nice even to do a class with juniors on computational thinking and things like that. And they're all available free, and you can order more of the thing. And there's a web link at the back for more resources and teacher lesson plans and things like that. Yeah? Okay.
Hi, I don't have PowerPoint, so you just got a document here, and if you don't have it, not to worry. The fact the document exists means that I created a makerspace at school, and this is a year on, and now I have a report. And whether you're reading that, that's okay. The point is, a year ago I was trying to sell the idea of a makerspace to my principal, and that was actually quite difficult. But what I was trying to do was to back up the likes of CPAs in science and maths, and also transition year activities. But you know, the way CBAs are, they involve lots of materials and so on. And our school is very few STEM subjects. At Leaving, they're doing biology and maths. We don't have network, woodwork, physics, chemistry. There's a lot of things we don't have. It's a small Dutch school, an inner city school. girls, but now boys in first year as well. So that's the background. So the idea was to support it, but not have the lab covered in recyclable materials, probably have them somewhere else. At the back of my little book here is a kind of a stock take of what we're using. So last year I kind of declared to 2 TY students, we're going to have a makerspace and it's going to be in that trolley, and we started there. And I bought a Dremel, and I don't know if you all know what a Dremel is.
No, tell me
but
what
none of our students had ever used a Dremel
What's
before.
Dremel?
I thought it was going to be soldering irons, but that's what it was. A little drill. You can look up Dremel equivalents in Woodies. Anyway, it's just a little drill, sander, and whatever. And even just using that through old exam papers is very therapeutic. Turns out you don't need any boards or whatever, some kind of. Well, anyway, we use old exam papers, so you just drill through, and then you can start using different types of woods or plastics, or then you can go through bottle caps and all kinds of things. And now you start transforming your students' ideas. We were hearing about Gotsky earlier on about the tools and transforming it. The only part of this idea was that if we got a makerspace, it would be sustainable and transformative, and already it is transformative. The other thing about it was starting off conceptually. I just said, here it is. And the transition here is now one of the founders. But actually, trying to explain what it was for, it was a difficult idea, all right. But besides conceptual, support was one thing. I thought this was going to be just about me, but actually it turned out it's about the librarian in our school. She borrowed our tools and so on at Christmas time for a celebration. They wanted to make things. The art teacher has been involved and stuff. So straight away it has taken on a life of its own. The other thing we did have, which is a big advantage, we had, a few years ago, I got the caretaker to build a robot, the robot board. It's actually the FLL match robot. I don't know if you know about FLL, First Lego League Robotics. Well, this year, when I was trying to sell the idea to the principal, I said, well, you know the robot table, that's actually taking up space everywhere, because every time it gets moved, it's pushed on somewhere else. But actually, we put it in a room this year. We got our coder dojo up and running during after school. And when some students finishing something, I actually got us registered for FLL. That's the challenge, the second level. We had about 6 weeks to put our campaign together. And not only is it about Lego robotics, Lego technique, there's also a big innovation project. And this year it's all about energy and renewable energy and so on. And now we're in the All-Ireland Fund. Neither just a concept, it's now an event. So there's a stock take at the back. Obviously the tools, we can't keep buying stuff, it started off somewhere. I put this sorry, I can't talk. I put this here because we don't have a subject called STEM in secondary. So it has to come from somewhere. So I'm thinking, is it from the science budget? Is it from the maths budget? Is it from or IT, I don't know what is it exactly. My experience of a makerspace was actually the maker movement, maker fairs, TOG in Dublin, that's all over 18, probably colleges, innovation spaces, all of this. But at the moment now we've got design thinking, iterative cycles with the FLL and so on. So it's taken on definitely a life of its own, and it's not going back down. And I have a little nod to Pamela here. Some of the things that we did there, we started off trying to make things like 10 secretary models. I don't know if anybody knows so much about that. And it's just so many things now. I'm going to stop there. Is that right?
That was brilliant. Thanks, Jen. That was really good. And can people get in touch with you now?
Yeah, my email address is on it.
It's on the sheet. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. That's great. Okay, next we have Richard.
I'll do your clicky. I just think you tried the move.
Yeah.
Hi, Richard Millwood from Trinity College in Dublin. Happily working for another 2 years, despite being too old to be working on our kids' code. And but I'm not going to talk about that. I want to follow Deirdre's example earlier on and try and give us some kind of a boost to our belief, our self-belief as educators. And in particular, I'm concerned that we tend to sometimes think the tool that we have to teach to people is given. Yeah? It belongs to the technologists, the industrialists, and actually I don't believe that's true. I believe that we, the educators, are the innovators in the world of technology and tools, And one of my old colleagues used to say tools, our technology tools in particular, are symbiotic in their evolution with humankind. If you start with the Stone Age and the stones and go all the way through the Industrial Revolution, you can see what he meant by that. He did his PhD on that, so I won't go into that detail now. But it means we have a responsibility. So can we play the movie on the next slide, rather than me talking about that? There are subtitles on YouTube as well. You might be able to switch into your subtitles if you're lucky.
That's just trying to get the volume to kick in.
It's very quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she's very loud.
Every time.
Do we anything these days?
No.
So the subtitles would help because is it a bit quiet? Can you hear what she's saying? No.
No.
Yeah. So what do you think? Closed captions. Press the CC. Ah, that's. And then zoom up to big screen and forward. Oh, I was hoping you'd read the subtitles. You can't hear it. So it's a little bit sad that was so quiet because it's so compelling in its delivery as a talk. But let's go on to the next slide rather than waste any more time on that, because this is the part of what she says that I find compelling. Yeah? If we do not take part in the building of technology around us, then we will not be representing it. And I mean we as educators, as teachers here. So my exhortation to you today, and this is why it's only 5 minutes, if we can go to the next slide, John, is to consider that historically, educational developments have often led to industry adoption. And the best example I can think of in that regard is the development of Smalltalk, which was created in the late 70s, just after Logo was developed in the late 60s and early 70s. And Smalltalk was designed to make it easier for children to learn how to program. Where have you seen that before? And I'm thinking Scratch and other things like that, yeah? And Smalltalk has had a lasting impact. This text was developed by asking ChatGPT, can you tell me how Smalltalk influenced the software development industry? So then I just took the words and edited them very slightly to make them fit on the slide. But that's just a joke on my part. I believe this to be true, okay? And I know that the banking sector, the finance sector, in particular picked up on Smalltalk and used it extensively to deliver the applications that it delivered on an industrial, commercial, critical scale. And yet, it started its life as a school thing for children. Okay? Now, if we can go to the next slide, please, John. Here's one particular example where I think we are not appreciating how advanced what we're doing in schools is already in the teaching of programming. So we have this notion of sequence, selection, and iteration. Does anybody recognise those three? In the ones that teach computing at maybe second level? And probably we should do that at primary level too. But we also have sideways. Yes, that's my term, by the way. I've invented that term for the sake of this argument. And that means being able to do things in parallel at the same time with two separate objects in a program. That's not typical, is it, Keith? You're an expert in Python, aren't you? It's not easy to done in Python. Yep. So, in other words, we have this advantage in our school-based computer languages of doing some very interesting things. So why do we stress so much when we have these sophisticated languages about going on to these text languages which are not as good and not as powerful? And part of the answer is about the way children want to make real games when they write programs. They want to make things that really work. And it pays handsomely then to be able to write bits of program for each of the little characters you have in a game to work independently of each other. And if you had to write that in Python, you'd be struggling. And you may have seen up in the makerspace today, Pitch was being offered. That's an example where somebody's trying to introduce some of these high-end concepts of parallel operating, sideways operating as I call it, into the languages like Python. So that children who have grown up with Scratch and grown up with MakeCode, in my case with the example here, are able to carry on when they go to these more sophisticated spaces and do things. Now, the reason I'm saying all this is me being critical of the world that we are in terms of technology. That's what I think we were being exhorted to do in the movie earlier on. And I recommend it to you, and I want to speak with anybody who wants to speak about those kinds of things. And that's what I came to say. I think it's good for us to recognise our capability and our knowledge. It's good for us to communicate that effectively to the educators that take on the children that we teach into third level and their courses. And I hope I'm not being too brutal there, Keith, when I say that. I think that's all I need to say, isn't it? Oh yeah, don't get me started on some programs. That's written in 1980 by Seymour Papert. And if you know what he means, by teaching the turtle a new word, he means writing a procedure for logo the turtle, the kind of thing, make a block, we call it in Scratch, and so on. It was the starting point for him. And for us, we don't even include it in our curriculum of sequence, iteration and selection. Why don't we? All right, so that's critical thinking. I should shut up.
Thanks very much, Richard. Okay, next up we have our own John Heffernan. How many minutes have you got, John?
I'll be as fast as I can.
No, what are many around?
7 minutes.
7 to 10. Okay.
Okay, first of all, anybody, probably from this microphone, anybody here from the department? It's not going to be controversial, but like we consider 50 anniversaries of an impactful civic association, and there's no from the department here. Okay, I've a bit of a gar from Philadelphia, here I come complex. I've kind of a John Heffernan, Irish facing John Heffernan, and I have a US facing John Heffernan as well. So one of the US things I've been involved in the last year was I was on the editorial board of the COSIN Driving K-12 Innovation. So some of you would be remember the Horizon reports that came out that would give a future look of the next 5, 10, 15 years. COSIN were one of the partners, and actually Deirdre Butler was one of the advisors to that board. So COSIN, which is the Consortium for School Networking, is basically an organisation in the States for basically the tech leaders within a school district. So Albemarle County, where Pam Moran is from, her CIO won the COSIN CTO of the Year a couple of years back and came to Ireland and saw a couple of schools and met a few people here. So I kind of, because I knew kind of Vince was pushing this on us when I was working at Albemarle, I've always been aware of what COSIN have been doing and their stuff that they're actively involved in. So they were looking for people to take part in the K-12, and I've been talking to Vince, and Vince says, yeah, go for this, it'll be pretty interesting. So there was a wide variation of 16 different countries, 29 states. COSIN's very strong in likes of Texas, Utah, the southern states, so that's where there's a lot of money in education. So there's a lot of good stuff. So the way to imagine COSIN is if you had a network of Tom Lonergans. Basically, Tom Lonergan is the Irish COSIN, in a sentence, okay? And really, I got a great experience in doing this because we sat for about 4 months on a regular meet-up on Teams or Zoom, I can't remember which, and we were working on collaborative documents. So we had discussions on a whole range of different topics, and basically the COSIN K-12 report divides into 3 parts: the hurdles, the accelerators, and the tech enablers. And as I said before, like it was a great experience for me to have these conversations. So if you remember back a couple of months ago, I threw on the necessity list, where did all the good conversations go? Do you remember that? Any regular member, assessor remember this? The point I'm trying to make there is, The CESI list is going to die the way we don't envisage that's going to do, because we need to have the conversations. The level of conversations I had in this was way above my head. I was kind of in conversations with people who knew a lot more about stuff and thinking about stuff more long term than we are now. And on the CESI list, we're not having those conversations. I don't know where these conversations are taking place. I'm not been taking part in them in Ireland. So if you do know where they are, please tell me, because I don't know. As what Richard had there, if we're not part of the conversation, we're going to be isolated out of it. So if you're a US tech director of a school district, your main things are trying to retain IT staff. How many schools here have a full-time IT person? Very few. They're also looking at the different ecosystems. Like, they are planning infrastructure that takes in student management systems, their VLE, the whole lot. It is so kind of well connected. Again, it's conversations we're not having. They're getting value out of being able to analyse data on their student performance. We don't do that. Why aren't we doing that? Okay? They also are looking very much on digital equity, especially with the pandemic. You have a lot of schools that spend a lot of money buying equipment to put it in the hands of students. When I was in Albemarle County, 70% of the school district doesn't have broadband. The school district were buying pylons to put LTE transmitters to enable students to have Wi-Fi at home, because if you had Vince Scheibert here, who's our CTO, he says we don't give out school books by zip codes. We're not going to give out internet by the same way. So if you were living in Albemarle County or Charlottesville, you would have Albemarle County Public Schools as one of your internet providers. Okay? And they decided that anybody that would have a school-issued laptop could do their banking. If the parents wanted to do their banking, they could do their banking, they could do their tax returns. It became a device for the family, because equity was a big thing within Albemarle County, and it's a big thing with a lot of states, with a lot of school districts in the States. Again, we're not thinking like that. Why aren't we putting public sector Wi-Fi in for students? And I think the pandemic has really shown up where we are versus everybody else. And this is not going to be political, but it's what I've learned from this, and I'm sharing with you guys. So the accelerators, one of the big things they were really on about is building the capacity of leaders. Do we give tech leaders in school the level of support that we need? Like, we've 50th anniversary, we have 100 people here, and a lot of these people are actually retired out of the education system. If you look around, there's not that many young people here today. How many people are under the age of 30? Sorry, it wasn't 1830. It was. But the thing about it, sorry, I should have said 2030.
Thank you.
But the thing about it is that we need to have more of a structure. Like, there's a European Digital Skills Certificate coming down the line. Yet the conversations about that aren't happening at the level where we're at, and we need to be in that conversation. So SEL, I think most people are aware about that. The other big thing as well that we talked about was kind of the artificial intelligence, which Keith here is probably the best man to talk about from the gathering corner. Broadband and connectivity, always a big problem. But again, they're talking about a whole range of different funding models from the state and from the federal government to supply that. Again, this conversation we need to be having. And then the rich digital ecosystem. One of the things that's not there is what? If you know me, what's my big bugbear at the moment? Do you not know what I'm on about? Cybersecurity. Because I raised this question here, why isn't cybersecurity one of the top three? Because we all voted on it, and it came in 5th. And one of the guys said to me from Austin, Texas, says, John, we've pretty much got cybersecurity done at this stage. Like, the last conversation I had with these folks was on the grants that the federal government were giving schools to protect themselves from cybersecurity attacks. Again, if you're an IT coordinator in a school, are you having that conversation? Okay, so
I can say that we are.
but the thing about it is that Virginia is 5 hours of a flight, or 8 hours of a flight from Dublin. But sometimes I feel we're decades away from them, because we're not having the same conversations here in Ireland as we're having in the States. And they're getting stuff right. They really, really are. So getting back to the CESI list is that if we don't have good conversations on that CESI list, it's going to die away, and this become a tech support list. And we should be using that list in a far more constructive, innovative and teaching developed way. And I do kind of miss the great conversations that we had. I remember once we had a great conversation on the CESI list about blogging. It went on for days. And like, if you put something up now, it just... Actually, how many people here are regularly contributing to the CESI mailing list? Mexican way of how you expect. See, it's a great resource, folks, and we're not using it. Okay? We need to keep what we have and use it well. So that's the kind of the gripe over. I didn't want to do that, but I just when the opportunity came, I did it. Okay?
Thanks very much, John. And
Lawrence.
next we have Lawrence, also known as
Mr. Turkey.
Okay, is this
also
the
known as
PDF for the PowerPoint?
Yeah, exactly. What's that?
Is this the PDF for the PowerPoint?
It's the PDF. We both
Which one do you want?
PDF. Probably better, would it be?
Which one do you want?
It's the PDF, please.
Yes.
And this is where I give you repetitive strain injury.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to apologise. My co-presenter was not able to make it. He was a little selfish. He's actually raising funds for guide dogs for the blind. Okay, can we do it in slide mode? Okay, it doesn't matter. Just keep on going. David Campbell is my co-presenter. I'm Lawrence Clough. I'm a maths teacher. Next slide. Why me? I had 20 hours of teaching, and I pressed the red button and said, make me full-time. Okay? And as a result of which I got graphic design. Okay? As a brief. Graphic design at level 3 is very low level, and it's effectively advanced features in Word, such as can you do text in 2 columns, can you apply a gutter, and can you change the font. So I kind of looked at the title and says, okay, let's go. Go on. So I'm talking about teaching visual culture next. So I start with rock art. I'm showing them rock art. Next. From Australia. Next. From Egypt. Egypt. Ostracons. Anyone know what an ostracon is?
Not yet.
Okay, it's graffiti. You take a rock, you do a doodle on it, and you throw it away. And Egypt is one of the very few places where 2,500 years later, someone can pick it up and say, weird, they were doing that. Next, not to be confused with ossicons if you're looking for it. Anyone know what ossicons are?
Not yet.
Okay, you've learned 2 things from me. Ossicons are the horns on giraffes. Next, I'm trying to develop an educated eye. Okay? This is something I picked up from learning first-year geology, where we spent a year drawing 6 rocks 2 afternoons a week. So it teaches you how to see. So I started teaching them handwriting. I started with dryad cards. There's a guy called Alfred Fairbanks who developed these in the 1930s. Very hard to get now. A set of them will cost you something like $200, something like that, if you can get them. With fountain pens, bamboo, and we ran out of cards. There were only 10, so I had to download a handwriting manual, which was actually written by, if I can read this, Ludovic Vincenzo degli Arrigio, back then, who actually wrote it in 1522. So there was no copyright issue. I could print it out and say, go for it. Move on. I got a great book of fonts by a guy called Stephen Cole, and I actually wrote to him because I wanted to shoot short videos from the fonts on that, and he said, yeah, go ahead, that's fine. And a work in progress was to produce an app for a mobile phone, whereby people could learn font recognition. Steel point engraving, that slide shouldn't have been in there, move. So, history of printing. Move. I'm an old print set, and I built a printing press, just a small, simple one. I taught perspex etching, lithographic models, just the fact that oil will repel a water-based ink, and you can do that. One of my students took it home, found essential oils, and came back after the holiday, and it was brilliant. Okay, move on. Early woodblock printing. The earliest books, History of Paper, Papyrus, the town of Pergamon. Anyone know why that's famous? Okay, they had a bit of a snit with the Egyptians. The Egyptians were providing the papyrus. We had started having civil services and we needed paper to write stuff down. And the Egyptians said, no, you're not getting any more. So they did this whole thing of killing animals and scraping their skin. And that's where parchment comes from. Okay? Pablo Only, if you are ever in Venice, go to his shop. He is trying to revive printing, hand printing in Venice, and he has a lovely bookbinder shop, well worth going to visit. I've read 2 wonderful interviews with him in English. It turns out he doesn't speak English. But we did out in French. So I have this whole course laid out and Dave comes in. Okay, Dave is my student. He's got a white cane. His visual resolution is poor. His focus is poor. He can't see colour and any glare. That's why you've got white on black here, because that text he could not, actually couldn't read it, it's far too small. But he needs white on black, black on white doesn't work, but he's got a great attitude. When I say focus, oh yeah, and he's got his laptop. He can read, hold it. He can read 3 words on a screen that's there, okay? If I back off and push it on a screen which is 4 foot by 6 foot, he has difficulty distinguishing 3 letters, okay? So we've talked a lot about how you can use, and there are all these tools in Word and so on which help. He used a specialized software called Dolphin software, which gives him a real screen magnifier. Our tech support consists of the guy who teaches computer maintenance, and he brought in a big TV screen from home, so that worked. So teaching graphic design too now becomes, I can talk about layout, I can talk about white space, I can talk about kerning. Adobe, yeah. Why? Well, Adobe is an industry standard and we get access to it for free. Why not? Once the students walk away, it is very expensive. But it does give me the advantage of AI Assist. There's a nice exercise that Adobe have up on the website because they actually want your email addresses. They want to harvest those. And then once you've given them the email address and set up a private account, trying to get them onto the school system is almost impossible. But the application I was trying to do was make a logo, okay? And all the other students who could log in, sign up, you said, no, I'm not giving you my, or I'm giving you my personal email, not the other one, and so on, and they could make the logo. With Dave, there was just one problem, and we could not solve it. To click, yes, I agree to your terms and conditions. That was a 2-hour class. Okay, we did print with wooden letters. Well, look. I was using a lot of his prior knowledge because he actually went blind. He was originally visually sighted. I actually cut out wooden letters with a fret saw, but actually didn't have the tactile acuity to really get it. But we did print with an old rubber set which was for putting prices up in the 1950s, okay, in shops. And that he could work, and he could put a letter down and so on, he could feel the letter. He went home with his hands black with ink, but he said that was fine. Okay? We've talked about that. UDL, Universal Design for Learning. I'm using a very old font, so that's actually a U. One size fits nobody. Sorry. It can make it harder to get targeted help because they say, well, you should have done your course through UDL. Okay? It's good, but you work out that. I also teach maths. For my maths, I've talked about this before, I have spreadsheets. They're nicely laid out, so I can give them random numbers, so if I'm asking to add 2 numbers, you can't look at the person beside you and get the answer. Okay, move on. So a typical worksheet is nicely laid out in Excel and it looks like a document, etc. Modifying it for Dave was actually putting it as a line of line 99 all in cell A. Okay? Because when he is navigating word by word, a spreadsheet is huge. Okay? Up. In the level 3 maths course, I've got to get him to read a map. I think I made 3D print a map and try and work that one. Drawing up plans, maybe we could lay out blocks or something. So, conclusions. The expert in the room is actually the person who has the disability. They have worked hardest on it. They know the most about it. You kind of look at this and you start thinking, oh yeah, we can solve this, how, etc. The software he actually was using was Supernova. A lot of our initial problems was it was fighting with the accessibility software in Windows. And Microsoft's advice, which we actually followed, was to actually get Windows to replace the accessibility links with links to his software. The software is great, but then Windows updates and then Supernova falls down. He is on first name terms with the support staff with Supernova. Okay? So software fights, you're just getting everything fighting each other. Yeah, talked about that. Simple tasks. You give the student a brief and he's got to write a Word document. Okay? So that's walk over to this football field visually, look at the brief, walk over to this football field, start typing your stuff, walk back over to check what you were doing. Okay? So like 4 tasks, he managed to lose them. He was trying to redo it over the weekend. He spent 2 days and he got 2 of them done. So that's time. Okay? How big is a ribbon? The ribbon at the top of Word. Okay? You've watched a football match in a big stadium. It's like walking all the way around that ad strip and looking for the particular button that says fonts. Okay? Yeah, you can dictate it to Word. All you got to do is click on the microphone button, which is where? Okay? We need all of it, not just a useful tool. The dream? A fully vocal word processing. Yep. What do I know? Best thing we did for him was putting a solid state drive into a specialized thing. Stop solving and start listening. That's it.
Marvelous slide.
Okay.
Just to know, folks, if you're sharing this with staff, don't print off 10 copies of this in the photocopier because you'll ruin it. You'll use every single item or iota of ink.
That was amazing. Is that it? God. So we have one competition. We have a couple of prizes to give out. Well, we've won already. Is that 13 rude words person here? Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. And then we have another prize to give, right? So we have one thing, and it'll take 2 minutes. And I'm not going to be the judge. Someone else has to be the judge, right? So this is just a really quick way of. Okay. So we had Wellbeing Week in school this week, and the students did a lot of the work, and they designed a little lesson plan for a class, right? I'm not going to go through it. It was basically, dealing with anxiety. They asked students what they struggle with most. They had to fill in their whiteboards and put them up, and it was really, really good, right? And then at the end, and this is what we're going to do now, and the students came up with all this themselves, and they went through, so that's fine, and then they had a game, right? So the aim of the game, and you're going to do this now, in groups, or on your own. No, on your own. You're going to do this on your own, right? And this is a student's one, like it's not formatted, a student designed this themselves. So I'm going to tell you a word, and you have to write down a word to match each other. So it's like an acrostic poem kind of thing, right? So basically you put your word in a column, everyone, pens are ready, right? You put your word in a column, and you come up with as many words as you can, and they do it as group work, and the first person to finish gets through to the next round, and then there's a tiebreaker, right? So, I know, and it did take a whole class. They stood up there and did the whole class, right? So, we'll just do this, right? The first round one, okay, and nobody start yet, please.
Put your pens down. Nobody starts that, right? Wait until the seconds get up to 12 for me. And how long will we give people? Oh no, you just get it done actually, yeah. So whoever gets done first, and I'm not going to do that work because I know there'll be people cheating. So we're going to go with that one. No, we're not. We'll go with active school flag, right? And the words can't be the same, okay? So you can't have two words the same, right? So off you go. And again, this is another activity you could use in class related to your subject or your topic. Yeah, so you're writing it down vertically, so you'll have A-C-T, and then you have to have a word going across, like apples, or whatever. No, you can't. You can't win a prize because you're on the executive. You can't win a prize. You fix.
Keith did it.
Keith did it.
I was looking for stickers.
Anyone? Tension in the room. Okay, Lawrence.
He's done already.
All can time inter Venice ever say can happy, sorry I'm writing over stuff here, onto one line finished and then lager, ale, gin.
Hang on a sec now, sorry. Yeah.
Has to be a
Lager.
sentence.
No. You had, what were the two O's?
Onto and one.
And then LFLHE, what were they?
Line, finish, lager, ale, gin.
Okay, I missed the last few. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Lawrence, you're after winning. You see, so IT for schools are outside, donated a prize, right? So you're after getting a wireless display adapter to bring back to school, so that's good. And thanks very much to IT for schools for that.
Thank you.
And now I think we have...
No expenses spared.
Oh yeah, so the next one then is no expense spared, okay? We'll do one more word really quick, right? So I'm going to make a word. Think word, Helen.
Computational. Okay.
Think word.
Computational.
Computational, okay. Okay, yeah, we have a winner over here. Okay, go.
Car orange, mouse pig umbrella, toad apple, tractor indigo orange night, ankle lime.
Sounds good, yeah. Sounds good.
As I said, no expenses spared. So what we did here, and it was Richard and Mags and myself upstairs with the turtle stitch. So this is hand embroidered, well no, machine embroidered. Okay, you can frame this and put this in your favourite place. And it's just a memory of CESI 50. So that's basically coded in turtle stitch.
By students?
Yes, and the one in the middle was actually coded last year by one of my fourth years. He designed that. And this here, I know someone actually, I went upstairs,
They're all from your TY.
Okay, so these are all TY subjects, students. So this is coded and then it's out to embroider. So there's different
Original
forms of
art.
art. It's original art.
So I'm just going to hand over now to Dermot, our esteemed chairperson. Thank you very much to everyone for taking part. We really hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you next year. And try and do teach meets in your own school, like it is a bit of crack and you'll get teachers to volunteer for different things. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Jane.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
keep this very, very short and sweet. Look, well done everybody. It's been a wonderful, wonderful conference, and it's been great to see all those professional and informal conversations about digital educational practice returning in a face-to-face context. It's something that we've all been missing out on over the past 2 years, and while it may take time to build up the numbers who attended these conferences pre-COVID, we've made a very strong start today, which is great. When we launched the call for proposals, it was before ChatGPT hit the airwaves. So essentially we asked ChatGPT recently, why should we attend the CESI conference? And maybe we could have a quick show of hands to see if you actually agree with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT recommended CESI because of networking opportunities. Yeah, very good. Professional development. Yeah. All right, good. Exploring new ideas and friends. Yeah. Yeah, lovely. Access to industry experts. Okay. Career opportunities. Yeah, one. Good. Any others? Two. Yeah, fantastic. Any others that people can suggest? Anything else come up that ChatGPT didn't manage to hit?
When are we cutting the cake? The cake.
In about 250 words time. Yeah. All right. Let's skip that one. Okay. Because of a few people to thank for today's conference, Mary, and it's important to wrap these things up. So we've Dr. Orla Flynn, Keith, Pat and Joe from ATU Galway City, presenters, makers, vendors, TeachMeeters, conference attendees, our Chair Emeritus, Adrienne Webb. I nearly said Dr. Adrienne Webb there, but honorary I'm sure in the future. And look, at the heart of the work are the CESI executive, whose continuing voluntary dedication and commitment makes CESI what it is. While CESI is a privileged organisation with representatives on many steering groups who wield influence in policy and practice in computers and education in Ireland, it is our tribal nature of CESI that has continued its ongoing position to the forefront of primary, post-primary and third level education in Ireland over the past 50 years. And even though the digital educational practice field has become quite polluted in the last 10 years, today is evidence that CESI remains strong and is continuing to grow in strength, and who knows where we will be in 50 years' time. Before we go, a few last items of housekeeping. The CESI AGM will take place on Wednesday, the 29th of March at 8 p.m. So please keep an eye on the CESI mailing list for for further details. Again, CESI invites new members to join the executive. We invite people to come on board, people with new ideas, and people to take an active role in the organisation. The conference dinner will take place at 6:30 p.m. this evening in the Connaught Hotel, and we hope that it will provide a fitting end to the day. The conference will return to ATU Galway City again next year, so keep an eye out for the save the date online. And lastly, well done everyone. This has been a great day and a fitting tribute to all that CESI stands for. We went over time earlier in the day. We got our time back. And maybe, in true West of Ireland fashion, we may start late. Breaks may run over. Lunchtime may run over. But by God, teachers will be out the door when the school is finished. Cake will be cut now, Mary, thank you, outside, and you can all take it home. Oh, and Pam.
Sorry, just a reminder for anyone who wants to continue networking, professional development, all those good things we talked about. 13th of May, Paris campus of TUS. We will be there for ICT Education Conference with a pre-conference meeting on the Friday night, 12th of May. Love to see you all there. Call for proposals just going out. Registration will open soon. We're not there yet, but we will be there very soon. But call for proposals will go out this evening, tomorrow. So look out for that on all of the social media.
Will you have cake? Will you have cake? Cake.